let's talk about 1 Kings chapter 7, verses 16 through 22. So in this part of the story, we learn about King David and his son Solomon, and they decide to build a temple. So the temple was a reminder for people to not just be casual worshipers, but to draw God near them. And if you have God near, then he will be near you. And these two pillars were to serve Israel and to remind everybody that God has strength. So everyone, what are pillars? Does anyone know what pillars are? Yeah, they're like these round towers, right? So these pillars were about 8 meters tall, and the building of the temple was in the heart of King David, and his son, King David and his son Solomon, they really wanted these pillars to serve as a reminder, and they wanted to use the very best materials. So, like I talked about last week, when God is giving us his best, we should be giving our best back to him. So because of this, King David also wanted to make sure that these pillars had the very best material to show people that we should always be giving the best back to God. And after that, let's repeat after me, everyone. Please repeat this. If you draw near to God, he will... Let's try it again. If you draw near to God, he will draw near to you. Very good. One last time. If you draw near to God, he will draw near to you. Excellent. So we should always serve that as a reminder. So always keep God close to your hearts. So always make sure to pray before you come to church. If you're ever curious, make sure you come to church with questions. So next up, I have a story, as I always do. Now, everyone, have you ever taken a moment to think about how amazing modern-day inventions are? Have you ever taken a moment in your life? For example, let's take a smartphone. Wow, it's a phone, right? But 20 years ago, I never would have imagined that this would have information at your fingertips. Like any question, I could be like, so when was Barack Obama born? I can literally find out in 1 second, right? I could type it in. Not only that, this thing can take pictures. You can play video games, you can have all kinds of apps, you can post on Instagram, Facebook. Just imagine all the things in this small little device. So have you ever taken a moment to think about how incredible that is? You have? Oh, very good. So let's all try to be more appreciative of these types of inventions. And other things, such as public transportation. So raise your hand if you've ever been on a bus. Good. On a train, raise your hand. On an airplane? Yes. So I have a story. So about 8 to 10 years ago, I was on a plane, probably going to Korea or something, and I just took a moment out of my day. That moment, I was sitting down on the plane, I was like, how amazing is this? I am sitting on a chair, and I'm flying in the air. This plane, this device, it's allowing me to fly in the air across the ocean to a different country. So just think about that for a second. Have any of you guys ever thought about that? How incredible that is? You have. Good. So let's try to apply that same type of fascination with God, right? Think about how amazing God is, all the amazing things that he allows us to do, all the amazing things that he's created in this world. But, this airplane story. So imagine how different the world would be if we didn't have airplanes, right? So, for example, how long do you think it would take to travel to Korea if we didn't have an airplane? How about if you took a ship? How long do you think it would take? It would take about 12 days, actually, with modern ships. Yeah. Or how long would it take to walk to LA? I Googled this on my phone. It would take about 381 hours. So that's about 16 days to walk to LA. So on a plane, you can get to LA in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, right? That's amazing. So when I was on this airplane, once again, I took a moment. I was like, this is so cool. And then later on, the stewardess, she announced, ladies and gentlemen, you have free Wi-Fi that you can use on this flight. So at the time, 8 to 10 years ago, free Wi-Fi, nobody knew what free Wi-Fi was. This was brand new technology that they just announced. And I was like, this is amazing. This is so cool. And then about 30 minutes after using the Wi-Fi went down. However, the person who sat next to me, he was like, this is stupid. I can't believe the Wi-Fi went down. And I couldn't believe this man because I was like, you didn't even know about this invention until 30 minutes ago, and now you're sitting here complaining about it, not even appreciating the fact that you can use Wi-Fi while flying in midair. So because of that, once again, when we come to church, everyone, I feel like we are too casual sometimes. We don't come here with the same type of fascination that we always should. We don't come here curious. We don't come here wanting to learn. So let's change that, right? So do you ever take a moment out of your day to think about the messages that I tell you when you come to church? Like when you go home and before you're about to go to bed, do you take a moment out of your day and say, wow, James's message was really nice today? Do you ever do that? Raise your hand if you do. Thank you. Thank you. Any of you? None of you? Let's change that. So take a moment to pray. Take a moment to think about my messages. Amen? And always remind yourselves that we should not be casual to God.